Welcome! Art Deco Afternoons. We have a full house today. Makes me proud. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to start again. Welcome! This is Art Deco Afternoons, and this is a brand new presentation, never spoken before. I went and did a lot of scanning, a lot of history, because you're really a new audience. How many people are new to the Cultural Council in Lake Worth who have not been here before? Okay, that's good. We have a new audience. How many people have not been to the Art Deco Society lecture series at all? Wonderful. So for 22 years we worked called Art Deco Second Wednesdays at the Armory Art Center in West Palm Beach, which is also an Art Deco building built in 1939 by William Manley King. And here we are at the Cultural Council, an Art Deco building for Palm Beach County. And this building is by Roy A. Benjamin, 1939. It was originally the Lake Avenue Theater. So we have an upcoming event, World Art Deco Day, April 28th. It was the first day of the International Exposition des Arts Décoratifs et Industriels, Arts Décoratifs, April 28th. 2 years ago, here in Palm Beach County, we had what's called a post-Congress. And we're going to learn all the history today, but the post-Congress was actually on April 28th, World Art Deco Day. So all the Art Deco societies around the world are asked to celebrate that. So of course we're going to be celebrating the Art Deco World Day weekend, April 26 and 27 at the Wiener Museum of Decorative Arts. World Congresses were all over the world. It started in 1991 with Barbara Bayer Capitman in Miami Beach, which I attended. I attended Tulsa, Oklahoma, 2001. Of course, New York, where I'm from, Brooklyn, in 2005. I went to Havana, Cuba, which was wonderful, and it hasn't changed at all. 2017, I was paid my money, my hotel, my airfare. I was going to Cleveland. And then I got asked to speak in France in Perpignan Art Deco Festival. And it was like, I do this all the time. Cleveland, France. So I went to France and I spoke. I did not go to Cleveland. The last one was in Buenos Aires, Argentina before COVID, because COVID was this was November, COVID was March already of 2020. So right before March, I did go to Buenos Aires. It was supposed to be in Singapore, but it was canceled due to COVID. And in Buenos Aires, we made a bid to host the World Congress. So full circle, it started in Miami, and the last one was in Miami. Now there are three parts. There's a post, a main, and a pre, a post, and a main. We were the post-Congress. They kept switching us all on and off. But we wound up actually having an on-World Art Deco Day, which was amazing. And the next one will be October in Paris. And I have a reservation, and so does Zach. So that should be very, very exciting because we are celebrating 100 years of Art Deco. It started in 1925, and now we are at 2025. Let's see if this works now. So this is the original World Congress logo, and this is the new one. And I was on the board of directors for 2 years. I was the secretary of ICADS, International Coalition of Art Deco Societies, and I just left recently because it was a lot of work. Okay, so here we see Art Deco all over the world, and someone was just telling me they visited New Zealand Art Deco. Raise your hand, yay. There's Art Deco all over the world, anywhere you were born. It's just a matter of, is it still standing or has it been demolished yet? But all because there's Art Deco in every city in the world doesn't mean there's an Art Deco society that's creating education and preservation awareness. Okay, even the Art Deco societies we're going to talk about today, some are defunct, right? There are places like New Orleans that has a tremendous amount of Art Deco, but there is no Art Deco society. There could be an Art Deco society, but if they don't pay their dues to the International Coalition of Art Deco Societies, again, then they're not a member of ICADS. So we're not governed by ICADS, but we are a member of ICADS. So we could do whatever we want. And what we do are lectures and bus trips and walking tours and events and create preservation, education, awareness. We help people get on the National Trust for Historic Preservation, all things of a historical society, but we focus in on Art Deco. Now, what's so great about Palm Beach County, we all know about Miami, right? The hotels on Ocean Drive. But here, I'm an artist, and our arts buildings, our arts institutions are housed in historic Art Deco buildings. And for me, that's unbelievable and fantastic. Okay, so before we even start about what is Art Deco, what is Art Nouveau, right? You always hear about those two things at the jewelry estate sales. All right, so Art Nouveau is organic. It's like things that are alive and growing, all right? It's feminine, it's flowery. There's not a straight line in Art Nouveau, right? It's all winding and growing in vines. It's feminine and flowery. You have the peacock feathers and birds and butterflies and women with long hair and feminine, right? Beautiful, the Job cigarette papers. Along comes Art Deco as a revolt against Art Nouveau. And all you see are straight lines. The women bob their hair, they cut their hair, they flatten their chests, right? Everyone's tall and skinny. These are Erte drawings, which we learned about from Tara Lawrence, our January lecture. So we see straight lines, straight bangs, right? Everything geometric, everything balanced. So if you drew a line, what's on the left is on the right, what we call a mirror image. Harper's Bazaar, straight lines, boxes, architecture. All right, so we understand Art Nouveau is a revolt against Art Deco. And it all started with Howard Carter discovered King Tut's tomb in 1922. And everything Egyptian became all the rage. And it's the beginning of the Industrial Revolution and the machine age. And nobody wants to buy anything made by machine. Everybody wants old world craftsmanship. But the machine age is the wave of the future. Just like today, AI is the wave of the future. There is no turning back from that. We just don't know where it's going to go. So nobody wanted to buy anything machine made. But what they did was they looked back into art history, Egyptian, Mayan, Aztec, Japanese, all of the geometric designs, and they found that the machine could do one thing you could not do by hand, and that was make the straight line. So they reflected all of these designs from the past at the same time of all this Egyptian. There's all the women, right? Everything is the flapper days, the bobbed hair. Of course, I had to go to Egypt. I'm a nice Jewish girl from Brooklyn. I was the only Jew in all of Egypt, but it's your bucket list. You must follow your bucket list. If you have a bucket list tomorrow, what are you waiting for? Now is the time.
I think you had a broken leg at the time.
Now, after I came home from Egypt, my 65th birthday party was all Egyptian costume design. Here's from my birthday party. But I wrote the article for Australia, Art Deco and Modernism Society of Australia. Here's the article. It was on the cover of the magazine. And there's Art Deco in Egypt. And what I mean by that is, like, this is like 1939, this building. And I discovered walking the streets of, I left my tour and I went exploring on my own, only to find Art Deco. See, but everywhere you look in Egypt, you don't know if it's ancient Egypt or New Egypt or Art Deco, but these were historic buildings. And it was really a wonderful trip. Okay, so when I was 14, I painted my first mural. And that was 1968, and I didn't know, Egypt. I was 14 years old. But for some reason, this design always attracted me. And these murals that I was painting were called super graphics.
Sorry.
Yeah. So these super graphics were the way I did this, you used masking tape. And you taped out the wall, you painted it in, and when you pulled off the tape, you had a super graphic. Well, it turns out that Art Deco is about speed. It's about automobiles and trains and steamship travel. So you have streamlined modern is rounded corners. Streamlined modern is the absence of man's idiosyncratic embellishments. So the opposite of decoration. So even though we kind of call everything Art Deco from 1925, from the Exposition, to 1939, when the World War II started, the streamlined modern was about speed. So how did I paint this? Right? So I painted the whole wall black. Yeah. And then I put masking tape, but these rounded corners, I put a lot of tape, and then I hand cut them with a razor blade. And then I painted in the grays and the terracotta, and when I pulled off the tape, I had a streamlined, modern, speed, masculine, super graphic mural. Now what we're going to learn about Art Deco is everything is in groups of threes. And when I spoke in France, I don't speak French, so I went, 1, 2, 3. I can say that. But they understood that. So we also have what's called steps. It's stepping back, all right? So Art Deco is also these racing stripes. So we have racing stripes, rounded corners, steps. Okay. And then when I was old enough to get my own apartment, I love the warm and cool colors. So these are the cool colors of blue, green, and purple, and the warm colors of fire, red, orange, and yellow. And notice I painted the Empire State Building and the Chrysler Building, but we really did not care that much about the World Trade Center at that time. Okay, so it turned out there was an Art Deco Society in New York, which I joined, and I loved going to, they had like antique shows and happy hours, and I worked on this program. My name is in this program. I volunteered for the graphics. So we see the eagle of the Chrysler Building, right? Eagle is a masculine animal. We see the 1, 2, 3, we see the steps, and it's overlooking the Empire State Building. Somebody's really popular. Anyway, so on my, this event that they were having for this program was in the Cloud Club of the Chrysler Building, and I was all dressed on my way to go with a date, and he got an emergency phone call, and we missed the event at the historic Cloud Club of the Chrysler Building. This is a famous poster from New York, which I was given. So I lived in New York, and when I moved to Florida, December 1st, 1985, I couldn't take the mural with me, right? So I made a painting to remember my mural. And this is done with marker. You put a lot of detail in a painting. A mural is very big. You don't put that kind of detail. A mural is meant to be seen from far away, not close up. And as soon as I moved to Florida, you paint purple palm trees, right? You do not paint palm trees when you live in New York. And you paint pink flamingos. And all of these have Art Deco borders. I'm still, you know, I hold on to my roots, my geometric Art Deco border roots, and have fun in other ways. All right, so what does this say? Okay, so May 14th, so I moved to Florida, and everyone says to me, oh, you like Art Deco. You should talk to this lady, Barbara Bayer Capitman, in Miami. And for me, it was like a joke, because I lived in Brooklyn. Everyone said I should live in Manhattan. I moved to Delray Beach. Everyone says you should live in Miami Beach. You know, like I never lived in the right place. But we made Delray Beach what it is today through art and culture and history, by the way. Anyway, so I call up this woman, and it turns out she had gotten 800 buildings, like practically overnight, on the National Trust for Historic Preservation Registry. There was a big coup. Some of them were Art Deco and some were Mediterranean Revival. We call that contributing buildings, so they're not all Art Deco. And in 1981, she and industrial designer Leonard Horowitz traveled the United States, and they discovered Art Deco all over, and they had people starting Art Deco societies. I go and meet Barbara Kapperman from Delray Beach, and she says, Sharon Koskoff, you will start the Art Deco Society of the Palm Beaches. And I'm like, are you kidding? How am I going to do that? I was a mural artist. I was a designer. What did I know about nonprofit historic organizations, 501c3 corporations? But she taught me everything I know about bus trips and walking tours and what is Art Deco. The mayor of Miami gave me an award for starting the Art Deco Society of the Palm Beaches. And I go home and I paint my jazz man, and by the way, I was renting, this is like my bedroom, I had a paint. And the jazz man became our logo. There it is as a serograph, which is a limited edition, silk screen is a serograph. Okay, and she shows me this slide of San Francisco. This is Ghirardelli Square, if you've been to San Francisco, on the water. And she shows me flat roof, rounded corners, which we've already learned about, groups of threes. See how it steps up? It's a mirror image, it's balanced on both sides. Asymmetry would be like an L, right? That would still be balanced, but that would be called asymmetrical, not mirror image balance. And we'll find that in mid-century modern when we talk about that. Rounded corners, and we look down at this building, we see 3 portholes, and we see glass block, here's glass block. So all of these elements, the bandings, the racing stripes, the 1, 2, 3s, I learned what was Art Deco in Miami, because it wasn't the Chrysler building, right? How could there be Art Deco in Miami if New York has the Rockefeller Center and the Empire State Building? So she explained that really the Art Deco that we have in the Palm Beach County and South Florida and Miami Beach is really a little later than 1925, and we call that streamlined modern. Okay, so I come back to Palm Beach County, and I start looking for buildings. And I have this building, this little boxy nothing building on Dixie Highway, the Elephant's Foot. So it had the eyebrow, which is a flat linear plane that prevents the sun from coming in. And even that has 3 little bandings. Bandings, rounded corners, flat roof. Okay, and I go back with this slide. Remember slides? We used to take slides. I bring this to Barbara and I go, is this what you mean? Is this Art Deco in South Florida? And she said, yes, it was her favorite kind of building. So I travel with Barbara and Leonard Horowitz, we shared a room, in Cincinnati. And in the airport, when you go to Cincinnati, it's a Kentucky airport, and you see these one-hole Reese ceramic tile WPA style murals. So WPA was Works Progress Administration. And we had a depression in the 1920s, and to get out of the depression, the New Deal hired artists, poets, artisans to create art in public places. If you come on the walking tour Thursday, you will see a WPA mural in our post office here in Lake Worth. So they showed people hard at work and trying to get out of the depression. Okay, so we stay at the Fountain Square at Carew Tower, 1 Netherland Plaza. Oh my God, it was just like the Chrysler building, inside and out, pure Art Deco. And I have wonderful presentation on that. Here we see the decoration in Art Deco, where everything is stylized. That means to simplify, to elongate, right? The tall, skinny women are all elongated. That was the Art Deco. We went to the Cincinnati terminal. We had to wear hard hats. It was under construction. They were just learning to save these buildings, all right? Because once you tear it down, demolition is forever. So it was the 42nd Annual National Trust for Historic Preservation Conference. And Barbara has an organizational meeting there of the Art Deco societies. So we had Art Deco Society of the Palm Beaches, we had Cincinnati, we had Miami, and she made headlines, and it was a wonderful, wonderful event. So let's take a look, right? We see straight lines, we see rounded circles, we see steps, stepping back, stepping down, and this is the inside. concentric circles. And we know that Rockefeller Center is in these same colors, the oranges, the yellows, the colors of the sun. Okay, so you've heard of Goldman Warehouse in Miami. Tony Goldman owned the Park Central Hotel, which was always my favorite. This is in Miami on Ocean Drive. He started Wynwood Walls, okay? He became the director of the National Trust. He was with us. Everybody came to Cincinnati, the mayor of Miami, me, Leonard Horowitz, and here's Tony Goldman. And then Leonard dies. He was, when we were together, he had AIDS and he was suffering greatly, and he died shortly after. And Tony Goldman called him Doctor of Color. He's the one responsible for all those pastel paradise colors in South Beach. Remember, we had Miami Vice, and we had Versace came down, Andy Warhol came down, met with Barbara Kapitman. Art Deco was becoming all the rage in the 80s. Okay, right now, what's all the rage is, of course, is mid-century modern, which we'll learn about, and we have to protect that architecture of our treasures as well. But it was very, very sad to see Leonard pass. Now, I dug all this up for us today, and in 1990, okay, Barbara, they were having Art Deco weekend. She started the Miami Design Preservation League, which is the MDPL. She with Dennis Wilhelm, and he was the archivist for the Wilsonian, and Michael Knerk, who worked for the Miami Herald, so we had a lot of publicity and awareness. So January 11, 1990, we have a meeting of the Art Deco Societies around the United States. And we were called Art Deco Societies of America, and we were going to plan in 1991 the first World Congress on Art Deco, all due to Barbara Kapitman. There I'm speaking. We have a lot of archives. Anyway, we planned, here she signed it, we planned it. However, Barbara did not live to see the first World Congress in Miami. She passed away in 1990. But for 5 years, she called me every night on the phone. I was young, we stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning talking on the phone. And what happened was they tore down the Senator Hotel in Miami and put up a parking garage. And it broke her heart that she had a stroke. I mean, it's very serious, when you love something and it's taken away from you. But here's Barbara. She died at age 69. Okay. So I went to her funeral at Temple Emmanuel, which is a Moorish Art Deco building. See how we have the dome and these domes, but we'll see the 1, 2, 3 and the flat roofs. We call this Moorish Deco. And so how do I go on without my mentor, right? So Barbara wrote 2 books. She wrote this one, Deco Delights, with photographs by Stephen Brooke, who I know. And Michael Knerk and Dennis Wilhelm finished this book in her name. Randy Juster is a wonderful Art Deco photographer. You meet all these people at the congresses, so I know them all. So she wrote 2 books, but didn't finish the second. Okay, here I am with Michael and Dennis, with Kirby Koulouris, who's a gay walker. You know what that is? That's when you escort rich Palm Beach ladies to the events. You would pay him, and he'd come in a tuxedo and pick you up and escort you, so the rich widows of Palm Beach wouldn't have to go to a big fundraiser alone. And there I am a long time ago. That was when my hair had to have a perm. Now it's naturally curly. Kirby owned an Art Deco house, 1221 North Lake Way by Belford Shoemate. And after the 2 of them died, if you go down to Ocean Avenue, you'll see 11th Street is named the Leonard Horowitz Place, where the Versace mansion is. And 10th Street is where the Art Deco Museum is now located on the beach in their honor. This is the Art Deco Welcome Center at 10th Street. And people go here because they change the date and the temperature, and it's like a photo picture. So for 30 years, we ran bus trips to Miami quite often, but since COVID, we haven't been doing that. So I come back home to Palm Beach County, and I start discovering Art Deco buildings. This is where we used to have our lecture series. This is 1939 William Manley King. But when I first saw this building, an artist friend of mine, she was president of the Norton Artist Guild, I was vice president, and she takes me because the Norton Gallery and School of Art, as it used to be called, was throwing out their School of Art. And just a few blocks away was this like abandoned 1939 fort. And I remember standing here next to Gay Wolf, that's her real name, and I go, I think that's Art Deco. And blindly she goes, oh no, that's not Art Deco. We don't have Art Deco in Palm Beach County. Like, people did not want to hear that we had historic architecture here. That was just Gay Wolf, had to convince the rest of the world here, you know. I had just arrived a few years ago, and here I'm this New York girl saying, oh yeah, we have to preserve that, and that's Art Deco. And it was a struggle. Anyway, so I got together everyone in the neighborhood, we pressure cleaned the building, there I am painting it. There I am on the roof. It's in my book. And we painted it the secondary colors. Primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. Secondary colors are green, purple, and orange. And this was kind of controversial, oh, lavender. But never did I dream that I could be like Leonard Horowitz. I mean, he didn't actually paint his buildings, he just designed them as an industrial designer. I'm a hands-on artist, right? So I never thought, though, oh my God, to be like Leonard Horowitz. And you know, they would never let me paint a building in Palm Beach County, and yet here we are, we did it.
Great.
And here it is in the book. So let's see, what makes it Art Deco anyway? You have the eyebrow, you have this is called fluted ribbing. Up here, this is called fluted ribbed columns. It steps down, right, the Egyptian, 1, 2, 3. And this is what it looks like today. They added onto their sculpture building, which was a blue metal roof, and they wanted to match it, so it's just light blue, which has no contrast against the blue sky. But there it is, the Armory Art Center in West Palm Beach. Okay, so, and we had our lecture series there for many, many, many years, like 22 years. They built an Art Deco school. If it's new, it's not historic Art Deco, so what would you call it? I call it Deco-metric. So they built a Deco-metric school in 2007, Schenkel and Schultz. This is in West Palm Beach, Palm Springs Middle School. And we see it steps down, it has the stripes, the bandings, the concrete bandings. And they asked me to paint murals throughout the whole building. I have maybe 30 murals in there, all Art Deco. And there I am with my father, Papa Ruby, who worked with me for 35 years, painting murals. And here's how we would project an image on plastic, and then it's called transfer. We trace it onto the wall. And this is their library. So they built Art Deco furniture. We already know it's Art Deco. It's streamlined, modern with the rounded corners and the 1, 2, 3. And you know, schools, you know, it's the library. So why don't they say, why don't you, you know, illustrate a book? Alice in Wonderland, or you know, any book they want, right? No, we want pictures of more books. Because it's not enough that there's books, we want books everywhere. So I researched and found calendars that had the design of books, a man holding books, and people reading books. Schools need to be more creative. This school in Indian Ridge, I also did, they came in and said, do whatever you want. And I painted 30 murals there, also in the Art Deco style, the radiating concentric circles. All right, so we also discovered another arts building. Dreyfus School of the Arts is another William Manley King building. And we see the fluted ribbing, the 1, 2, 3s, the rounded corners, 1, 2, 3 is the stepping down. They also have 4 relief on the building. Relief is another Art Deco element where it tells you what's going on inside that building. And this is what it looks like today. So the Dreyfus School of Arts, the campus is mostly Mediterranean Revival, except for this one building, the Arts Building, that is Art Deco. And here we see the relief. This is right by, whatever they call it now, Square, Rosemary Square, City Place. The Norton Museum of Art. When I first moved here, oh, we're international style. Then they agreed years later, we're art moderne. Now they proudly say, we're Art Deco. But we have the 1, 2, 3s, we see the fluted ribbing, the little Egyptian here. So mythology, remember we saw the original Art Deco logo with the Zeus holding up the world? A lot of mythology because they're the masculine, the gods, the goddesses. So here we have Diana, and she's shooting her bow and arrow at Actaeon. They were engaged to be married, but he saw her naked in the lake, so she had to kill him. No choice. So she took her arrow and turned him into a wolf, and then his own hounds destroyed him, is how the mythology goes. Diana and Actaeon. So, but here we see the little pyramid shape stepping up and the fluted ribbon. And who is Paul Manship, that artist of Diana and Actaeon? None other than the Prometheus fountain, Paul Manship, in every Hallmark movie that I watch, every Christmas, every ice skating rink, right? So we have 2 Paul Manship sculptures right here on Olive Avenue. When I wrote my book, you do a lot of research, and what I discovered, there are 3 relief behind those sculptures. Inspiration, imagination, and interpretation, also by Paul Manship. And this is my interpretation of interpretation in color. Then we discovered right here, the building we sit in, 1939, Roy A. Benjamin. Again, it was the Lanham Museum, PBCC, which is Palm Beach Community College, BICA, Palm Beach Institute of Contemporary Art, and Robert Montgomery, a huge philanthropist, lawyer, Palm Beach, very, very famous, gave money to the Armory, all the ballet, the opera, and of course, this building was given to the Cultural Council. And as you walked in, you saw the 1982 Tom Otterness sculpture. That's not original, right? It's 1982, but it's just lovely. It goes with the fluted ribbon, and it's Battle of the Sexes. You really must look at it closely. And of course, the artist in me loves to take photographs, not just document a building. So we see the stepping down, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 again, and it's to the heavens. It really is my favorite building in Palm Beach County. And this photograph, no one even knew what this was. I submitted it to the airport show, and they used it as the invitation. No one knew what it was. It's clear as day to me. And right now, if you go to BRIC, Boca Raton Innovative Campus, you will see this photograph, which I just learned I'm picking up Wednesday, of the Cultural Council building. We're going to talk about BRIC in a moment. Okay, and here it is, Boca Raton Innovative Campus. Has anyone been there? I give a lot of tours there, and it's amazing because it's Bauhaus architect. What is Bauhaus? A German version of Art Deco, you might say. Modern, straight line, minimal, and brutalism is what this architecture is. There's a movie now called The Brutalist. It's not about a mean architect, it's about the architecture. I haven't seen it yet. Anybody see it? I'm dying to, I must see it, right? Okay, so brutalism in architecture is heavy, massive, concrete. No decoration, no ornament, no painting, no, just the raw materials. And it's so beautiful with the shadows on it. But if you look closely, you can see they make a wood mold and they pour it. So this is a wood grain, and you'll see the nails of the wood mold. It's really amazing. Every time I go there, It's like my favorite place because there was nothing ever to see in Boca Raton. There was no Art Deco architecture. And now we've discovered this brutalist building. We've also discovered Lynn University, which we're gonna see in a moment. And the exhibit today in this building is called Boca Raton 100 Years. And it's all about a lot of the architecture of Addison Meisner, which I'm also in brick. I have 3 photographs there of Addison Meisner. The hotel, the Boca Raton Hotel and Resort is also at brick. But it was a Boca Raton Museum of Art jury show. And the exhibit showing right now, when you leave here, you can walk in for free. This is a free museum. It's open from 12 to 5 here at the Cultural Council. And they're showing Boca Raton 100 years. So a lot of anniversaries are happening in 2025.
Thank you.
We're gonna go and see in detail the Lake Worth Playhouse if you come on the walking tour next Thursday. So this is 1924. Last year it was 100 years old. And it's Moorish Deco. It's the oldest building on the Art Deco Society of the Palm Beaches, which is ADSPB registry. And a hurricane came September 16th, 1928, and changed the building. But this is inside. This is the Pecky Cypress ceiling, which is original ceiling. If you've ever been in the Wolfsonian Museum of Art, they brought in a Pecky Cypress ceiling from an automobile showroom. But this is the original, intact, and we see here O and T for Oakley Theater, the 2 brothers, Clarence and Lucian Oakley. And this must have been like the castle that it used to be, I imagine. And this is what it looked like for a long time. It had a flat roof. It was now more modern, more streamlined, more Art Deco. Notice the Art Deco marquee, thick and thin lettering. These awnings are just awnings. They are not Art Deco, right? They're just scalloped awnings. But we see the fluted ribbon, we see the racing stripes. So they come to me and they say, Sharon Koskoff, we have to get a new marquee. This is in danger of falling and could hurt someone, and we need you to design an Art Deco marquee for our Art Deco theater. And here's the blueprints, the plans that I worked with. I said, you're gonna get neon. Why? Because neon is an Art Deco element. Everybody's driving cars, eat at Joe's at night. How do you get gas? Buy your gas here. So neon is invented because everyone is driving around in cars at night. And this is what it looks like today. So we went from the Moorish Deco in 24 to, here's it under construction, to the old theater. And this is what it looks like today. And you know, we have a lot of hoodlums who graffiti artists and they broke the neon, so now they got LED and they're waiting for some donations to get LED lights for the banding, which is more efficient. So we had the World Congress here 2 years ago. And this is attached to the Lake Worth Playhouse. It's the Stanchik Theater. And I went and painted the doors so it'll be all pretty. It was just dark brown doors, very foreboding. So we had the World Congress. So this is a good friend of mine, an artist. She's a sculptor. She does monumental architectural designs for a public company called Pineapple Grove Designs. And our conference was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the World Congress. The bus came up with international world visitors. And on Friday, I kept, you know, like I'm talking to you and I'd go, will you cut it out? I'm busy. And then I'd come back and talk to you. All day Friday. People must have thought I was like crazy. But what happened, Mayor Betty Resch of Lake Worth wanted to have a mayor's reception. And in the morning, she comes from behind the curtain dressed as this ghost of the theater and stayed in character all day. So we had performing arts, visual arts, architecture, we had it all. This was very near and dear to me. This is the casino on the water here in Lake Worth Beach, right over the bridge. And this is what it was originally. It was the casino and bathhouse, lovely building, Mediterranean Revival, 1922, W.B. Eckler. And it was very, very popular in the 20s. Well, when the hurricane hit, they got rid of all that and it became this very modern building. 1949 Edgar S. Wortman, and he's a very important architect in Art Deco as well as public schools, throughout Palm Beach County. He was a very important architect. So he builds this very minimal, modern structure. And they have what's called a charrette, right? A charrette is where everybody puts their input. And they say, do you want the castle or do you want the box? Oh, we want the castle. Everybody wants a castle. Who wants a box? So recreation is not historic preservation. This is what we have right now. We have this lovely building. I'm not saying it's not nice, but they tore down a historic building from an important architect. It's called demolition by neglect. Well, it's no good anymore, so we have to tear it down. This happens time and time again. We just lost the Deauville Hotel in Miami because of that. This happens all over the world, and that's what Art Deco societies do. We help each other write letters and create awareness that you should not be demolishing this building. But, this is what they have now. So it's important to understand historic preservation is when you preserve history, not tear it down and call it the same thing. Okay, I love this. They wanted to build a downtown pedestrian-friendly shopping, Publix. And Publix came before the commissioners and said, here's our plans, we want to build a Publix, typical Spanish-style Publix. And the commissioners said, no, Sharon Koskoff's book, Art Deco Society of the Palm Beaches, says that Lake Worth has the largest concentration of Art Deco in the county. We want an Art Deco Publix. Oh, okay, we'll be back in 3 weeks. And they came back with the plans, and we have this Art Deco Publix, thanks to my book. We have the triangles and the racing stripes, neon, and of course they painted it in peach and green. Now what's so interesting is we didn't even call this Art Deco Day, but in 2011, it opened on World Art Deco Day, 2011. And this is unbelievable. I'm doing this 38 years. No one ever said, what about that building across from the Goodwill on Dixie, the bunker? It's called the Bunker Art Space, and I was just there Tuesday because the Cultural Council invited their artists. If you had a show, I had a piece in the last exhibit, Quintessentially We, invited those artists. It's a $25 ticket, and you have to kind of apply to go. It's like a timed, they meet at 2:15 and they go in. We had 40 people from the Cultural Council invited us for free. We went to the 1925 Toy Factory, and I still don't believe this was built in 1925. I don't know why. I looked it up on property appraiser's office. To me, it's more like 1930s. But let's just go with 1925 Toy Factory. And it's now, we see the stripes and the flat roof, and it's the private collection. Like in Miami, it's a warehouse of these private collections, and it's all cutting edge art. It's really an experience, and you can once you go on the 2 o'clock, you're allowed to stay till 5. Okay, Paramount Building. Now this certainly doesn't look Art Deco, but we've already learned about Moorish Art Deco with the domes. But look how it steps up. Look at the 1, 2, 3s. Now this is built by Joseph Urban, the very same architect who built Mar-a-Lago. And everything he did was Art Deco in South Beach, in New York. He did a lot of interior design. So what I found out is this building, see how it like steps back? This building is 1/4 the footprint, the floor plan of Radio City Music Hall. It was a theater. Up until recently, it was a church. Now if you read the Shiny Sheet, which is the Palm Beach Daily News, they have all kinds of articles. They're trying to expand it and make parking, and they have not been approved, but it's going to undergo some kind of transformation.
Excuse me, can I ask you a question about that? Because I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
What happened to the collection inside the building?
It's right there. We're going to see that in the next slide.
Oh, great, thank you.
I love this educated audience. You're one step ahead of me. Anyway, this is Arabian Deco, that Moorish Deco we talked about. Cartier, 1924, we know 1920s is Art Deco. But we'll see a little bit more of this Moorish kind of decoration. And there it is. Thank you for asking. Okay, so they have, also for free, because it's just a office building or retail shops, an enormous 2-floor exhibit of all Hollywood movies and actresses and theater, and it's really wonderful. And the architecture inside is historic, and it's a lovely visit. If you ever go to Palm Beach, and you want to spend the day, then you go to Society for Art.
Where is that building?
That building is on County Road, north of the bridge. Which bridge? The last bridge?
By the Green Pharmacy.
Church.
Right by the Green
Right
Pharmacy.
by the church?
And the pharmacy.
Just Google it, Paramount Theater Building. Okay, so our World Congress, of course, went there, and it rained actually. So here is Belford Shoemate. I mentioned that Kirby Kalous owned that home, and I got to meet him. I was teaching at the Armory Art Center for 15 years on Saturdays. I taught kids, so I painted murals 5 days a week, and on Saturday I worked with the kids and did murals with the kids or whatever we were doing. And Belford Shoemate was alive, and he had dementia. So I would call the wife, and she'd say, not this Saturday, dear, call next week. She was gonna let me come visit after school on a Saturday, 2 o'clock, but no, not this weekend. So every weekend I brought my camera. The one time I didn't have my camera, okay, you could come, but just for an hour. And I did, now we appreciate our phones, right? But I go and meet with Belford, and the wife is there, Betsy, and she's doing all the interpreting, and he had long hair. He was like an American, like a Shawnee American Indian, and he sat in his chair without air conditioning in Palm Beach and answered all my questions, and I took notes. And after 1 hour, he looked at the clock and said, "My dear, your hour is up." So that he knew, but he didn't. So the Preservation Foundation, when we had our conference here, all the museums had Art Deco exhibits. How lucky was that? And here we see the Belford Shoemate's children donated all of their archives to the Preservation Foundation in Palm Beach. This is not an Art Deco building, but I went and identified the sketches. I said, that's 1221 North Lake Way, home of Kirby Kalous, and I worked with all the historic societies, including the Preservation Foundation. So this is Kirby's house, Art Deco, 1221 North Lake Way. This is the intracoastal view. You don't see this from the street. But here we see 1, 2, 3. We see the rounded corner. It looks like a ship. Now, we used to have private parties there for members only and things like that with the Art Deco. Now, he had Art Deco furniture. All because you have a Spanish style house doesn't mean you have Spanish furniture inside, right? But he had Art Deco house with Art Deco furniture. And I got this in many magazines and many stories. Here I am with Kirby. He sold that for millions of dollars. Remember, he's the walker. And he now moved to Stewart, where I went to visit his new home. And his mother was an Isadora Duncan dancer, right? Frida and the women were dancing. And these are the murals. His uncle, Nathan Dolinsky, had these Art Deco murals painted, and he still has these, of course. They look like right after the Art Nouveau era with the peacocks. And another Belford Shoemate. This is in West Palm Beach. This is 140 Monroe Drive. So this was very popular in the Art Deco era. Vitrolite. It was like a glass tile in banding. And this whole house looked like a ship. Here we see again vitrolite. The house has, if it was a ship, you'd have shelving in the walls so it doesn't rock. And the whole house looks like a ship. The back of the house, to get it, is just like a ship, right? You have to, when you descend, you have to walk facing. This, of course, is from my book. And this is 1221, no, we already had that. This is 1221 Flagler Drive. And this is also Belford Shoemate. So we have important arts buildings and residential mansions. So here we see the stylized water fountains. Here's stylized water, 1, 2, 3. And this is now the home of the Marshmans, but originally it was the Wagner residence. So it used to be a W, they flipped the door for M for Marshman. And then they built a second house in the decometric style for the servants. I had only been in this house once. Well, because it's Art Deco doesn't mean I'm invited into the house. But here I was. We wrote a passage in this book. A lot of you might have this, the Palm Beach County 100. I wrote these 2 pages. So we have the Belford Shoemade House on Flagler. We have the Cultural Council, the Armory. This is in Lake Worth. They have now restored this. I'm ashamed. I can't even tell you what this looks like. I was going to bring this on the World Congress. It doesn't look like that anymore. And this house is the home of Linda Stabile. She's not here today. She's getting a facelift. And she hopes no one recognizes her. She's getting it on Monday. Not too late to call and wish her well. But she comes from Olivera. She owns this house, which was yellow at the time, but I redesigned the colors to my Egyptian colors. Let's see, where's that coming? And there it is at 3811 Wall Street. And it was the home of Ruth and Ray Wenger. And this is from the book. And this is the colors that it is now. And many people have been drawing this house. There's plein air artists who just go to a site and draw what they see. It's a whole group of outdoor painting artists. And this was in the Cultural Council magazine, a drawing of this in last month's Cultural Council magazine. But so here we have eyebrows just for decoration. They're not even, this one's keeping the sun out. This is downtown Del Rey. Anybody have an idea what this is? Anybody? Elwood's, but it's now called Johnny Brown's. Okay, so it's a 1942 gas station, and this is what it is now. Johnny Brown, by the way, is Addison Meisner's monkey. The architect Addison Meisner had a pet monkey, and if you go to the Boca Raton exhibit, I wouldn't be surprised if you go and look in the exhibit outside of Boca Raton that you would see. I'm sure you'll see the monkey somewhere. And there it is, Johnny Brown's. It's right on the train tracks. If you've ever been to downtown Del Rey, you got caught in traffic there, or outdoor music. Okay. So the Art Deco Society, we're running bus trips, we're running walking tours, and we go to Miami, and here's 3 buildings that were designed by Leonard Horowitz. So it's got peach and blue, which are opposite colors. Red and green, purple, yellow, and blue and orange are complementary colors. The Park Central, my favorite, and this is the Carlisle. And when I worked with Barbara Kaplan, she was very, very concerned that gambling was trying to take over, like Las Vegas. And they fought that for many, many years, and I guess they've succeeded. But I took these 3 hotels and made them into a painting. And see, I use my own colors, right? Always with the Art Deco border. And of course we included the jazz man and painting. If you go to Miami, Morris Lapidus did the Lincoln Road Pedestrian Mall. This is the Sterling building, one of my favorite buildings. So you see glass block, stylized water, fluted ribbon, you see stepping back, porthole windows, diamonds, squares, okay. And I believe the bookstore is here. Is that where Books and Books is? I think it is. You'll also go see Tamara De Lampica. Remember Tara Lawrence told us about Tamara, the artist? She did a ceiling in one of the hotels, all in tile. And you'll see Brito. Ramiro Brito was a new artist. He follows a lot of Picasso. And I really enjoy his work. A lot of serious artists don't like his work, but he is so famous and so popular and so commercial. Yeah. And some of his work is unbelievably great, like half, and the other half, I'm not sure. But look, they have parking meters in Brito. So Miami's embracing the arts, and that's important.
Very colorful.
Very cool, public art. So, here we are, landmarks in Lake Worth. We do all about tours. So not only do we do bus trips, but if you come Thursday, we'll do landmarks in Lake Worth. So we went into some shops, and here we see the colorful painting. Lake Worth has become very colorful now, as we saw in the door. So here's our application. Anybody want to come? All right, well, you could either, you could pay today, you could pay, just make a reservation, because we need, it'd be nice to have at least 10 people. It's not getting in the newspaper, it's not gonna be, it'll be very private tour, and you'll see a lot of public things. So please come. Okay. And here I am. So this was Buenos Aires. We made the bid for our tour. Here I am. Here's all the presidents of all the Art Deco societies at the last World Congress before in Palm Beach. So when we planned out Palm Beach Art Deco World Congress, the Miami people who were running the main Congress came up 2 years in advance. I was planning this for 2 years, and they wanted to make sure, where we were going and what we were doing. This is Daniel Serraldo, who's the head of MDPL. He's like the new Barbara Kappenman, you could say. And here's Joe Levine, who gave us a Zoom on Art Deco in Israel. And here is Jack Johnson, who was the chairman of the board, who I became very friends with. Here's Linda. Let's see what she looks like next time, right? Okay, so we had the World Congress. First they went to Bach Tower, then Miami, then Palm Beach. Has anyone been to Bach Tower? So this is called Art Deco, but it has a lot of Gothic in it, meaning pointing to the heavens.
Is it Miami?
No, this is in Lake Wales.
Yeah, I was
It's
there.
about 3 hours away.
I was there.
Very nice, and it's a whole sculptural garden. You walk a lot just to
But
go
they
see
don't
this.
allow going
They have
inside.
music coming from the tower.
Yeah.
It's great to go there on holidays. They have special events. So then they had the main Congress in Miami, which we saw pictures already of the Carlisle. So you see now, Miami went white. No more Leonard Horowitz colors. He's being erased. Why? A, the colors faded. B, they would have to hire a new Leonard Horowitz to design the colors. See, that costs a lot of money to paint all different colors. I guess if you just want to paint your building white, you don't have to get a permit. So originally these buildings were white, the original in the 20s and 30s and 40s. Maybe there was some blue or green to reflect the ocean. So they're also going back to their roots. They don't need, flashy colors to make it historic anymore. So when you go to Miami Beach, now you'll see an absence of color. They went to the Wolfsonian. Now, this is very decorative. This is the Art Deco, the decoration in Art Deco, where you'll see stylized shells and fountains. That's on Washington Road. That is the collection of Mitchell Wolfson, also amazing historical Art Deco hotels and furniture and clocks and all Art Deco if you go to Miami. So here I am at the World Congress. I was busy planning mine, but of course I went for the lunch where they had the president's panel, me and 2 other people from Mumbai, India, and Paris. And so here I am wearing my Egyptian dress. And I was so disappointed. This is Tim and Janet Trapani, longtime members of the Art Deco Society. And I called this week, and he's having a lot of health issues, and they like going at night to the lectures. Some people love the nights, and some people love the afternoons. Now, I'm so pleased that we have engaged a whole new audience, but Tim and Janet went to the main conference the whole week in Miami. And Zach, you did too, did you say?
No, just the phone.
Oh, just ask. Okay, just asking. Okay. So we made headlines. Front page, Easter Sunday, the biggest paper of the year besides from Christmas. of Linda Stabile's house. They called it the Deco Dozen. I love that. And we're going to look at this soon. This is Lynn University. And Elaine Weber and Mike, who's from Lake Worth, I was hoping she'd be here today. She designed our program. I did the painting. And here I am in Buenos Aires to have to meet Miami. I had to meet Jack Jarza from Miami in Buenos Aires. Because, you know, we're all so isolated, right? I don't even know people in Fort Lauderdale. So here we have Lynn University, which I discovered because we needed a place where the bus was coming up from Miami for a whole weekend, a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we needed a place to arrive. And Lynn University had these wonderful flags. And I discovered that the building is mid-century modern, built by Chapman, Evans, and Delahanty. And who are they? The architects of my alma mater, Brooklyn College. We went to Brick, we went to Linda's house, the Wenger residence. Of course, we went to the Norton, the Lake Worth Playhouse, the Cultural Council, the Armory. The Ann Norton Sculpture Gardens is not considered Art Deco, but totally influenced by Art Deco. And I recommend you visit the Ann Norton Sculpture Gardens. The Paramount, which we learned, the Society for Arts, had the William Wheeler Panther outside the library. We had the Belford Shoemate sketches at the Paramount Preservation Foundation. And the Boyd Building in Delray, where the home of Deck 84 restaurant is Art Deco. All the artists and writers of the time. So we had an Egyptian soiree party and a swing cabaret. And here, we're all dressed up for the Egyptian party at night. We travel to the Norton. Here's Australia. This is Steve Knight from Washington, D.C. rather. There's Joe Lowry from Chicago. And see this? Okay, let's see. I just went to Washington, D.C., and there's another one there. You know what that is? Okay, Klaus Oldenburg, typewriter. All right, so here we go to the Norton, and they had a modernism exhibit, 20th century American modernism. They could have had the boxing exhibit, which they have now, right? No, they had a modern, it was unbelievable how the timing worked out. And we all ran around, there's Zach. And we come home, we get on the bus, and we come back to Delray, and we have a big Egyptian soiree, and it was pouring on the way home, pouring. And we got off at exit East Atlantic Avenue, dry as a bone. And here we all are, celebrating. And of course we had a belly dance. In the morning, Betty Resch welcomed us, and my fire hydrant was there, right in front of this building. It's now painted yellow. A few weeks ago, for the Veterans Day Parade, we painted it, and James Porson helped me paint that. The Cultural Council here had an Art Deco exhibit, and Joel Cohen is the one who starts calling me the Duchess of Deco, because if I was the daughter of Barbara Kaplan, who's the Queen of Art Deco, I'm now the Duchess of Deco. Here's the plein air artist doing all the Art Deco buildings. This is the Preservation Foundation, did Palm Beach Modern. We had a singer, and we had these centerpieces for the dinner. And then I recycled them, and we had a big event at the Crowder Center. 800 people, we won Best Hat. Okay. And there we are getting the award. Oh, it's a video, it's playing. I didn't do that. Wow. Cool. So this is a new screen, by the way. It's the first presentation in this, so I guess it plays videos. So this year, the Cultural Council was up for an award, and I designed their hats. And they won. So here's the Art Deco around the world, and I thought we would just look at the other Art Deco societies. We're almost done. Thank you for bearing with me. We have Art Deco Argentina. Look at the concentric circles in the ceiling. We have Modernism Society of Australia, right? We know everything already. Rounded corners, the threes, the racing stripes, the fluted ribbing. We know it all. Now, Brian and Julie, they came from Australia to our group, And they live Art Deco. I mean, I'm an artist. I don't live Art Deco. I just want to preserve our history for future generations. But they live it. Everywhere they go, they're just models, and everyone's photographing them. For years, when I went to New York, they were there. I mean, they go to every conference, and they live Art Deco. Mumbai. So I was secretary of ICADS for 2 years, and I was on the board with Atul, and here I am with him. Art Deco of Reims. Now, in Paris, they're going to go to Reims first, and then they're going to go to Brussels. I'm just going to be going to the main conference. Art Deco Society of Western Australia. Art Deco Society of California. Here we see Chevron. That's Art Deco. Why am I still holding this? Okay. This is that blue vitrolite we talked about, blue glass, and we'll see ornament, Art Deco ornament. Now again, all because it's an Art Deco Society, it just means they paid their dues to ICADS. There's Art Deco all over the world, right? We went to a conference in San Francisco, the Stock Exchange, Diego Rivera murals, which of course I adore as a mural artist. So we'll see even geometric, the figures are geometric. Los Angeles.
His wife was that famous doctor.
Okay, here I am. I just went a year and a half ago. Here's Margot Gerba and Celeste Hung, who she now took my place on the board of Art Deco Society of ICADS. Of course, Art Deco Society New York. Here's Grand Central Station. Here again, we see the mythological creatures, the strong, masculine god. And this is now the president of ICADS. This is Roberta Newsom of New York. And here, she and I are in Buenos Aires at the conference. Again, you have to go all the way to Buenos Aires to meet people from New York. Rockefeller Center, right? The concentric circles. And I made a home theater, many home theaters. My first one was for Tony Costanza and his wife, and I repeated the concentric circles and used this from the Rockefeller Center, as we see right here, the famous dancing girls. Of course, we see this. And again, how can this be Art Deco and streamline modern, right? Well, we've learned all that. See how it steps up? See the futurism? We'll see 1, 2, 3s, we'll see groups. And here I am at the Chrysler Building. This is 2005. My favorite building in New York, though, was always the Statue of Liberty. I cried. There's just something so symbolic about our freedom. And they have this Art Deco ferry building where when people come from another country, they would arrive there. And they have books of all the people who signed in. If you ever do research on your ancestors, they'll have all the signatures of the people. And they all have different names. Right? They signed in different names, or it's crazy, but it's a wonderful, amazing place. And we see the chevron and the wings of the eagles and the stepping down. And of course, this is our logo on ICAD's website of the Playhouse, Art Deco Society UK, Art Deco Society Virginia. I don't really know those people. Okay, Washington, D.C. I was just there in October. And there was another Klaus Oldenburg. I didn't know.
Yeah,
We're walking down the street in the sculpture garden, and
yeah, it's been there.
how fun is that? So in Washington, D.C., I was staying in Leesburg, Virginia. You take the Uber to the metro, and we just learned brutalism. Right? Heavy, massive concrete. So their entire subway station is brutalism. Okay, and while I was there, the Art Deco Society of Washington had an event, a private residence, Jeff Scherer, who collects antique radios. 3 hours of looking at his radios. It was wonderful. And there's one of his radios. I injured my head, and I had to wear a headband. I was not wearing an Art Deco headband. I had stitches. And I did get to go. I'm a member of the National Women's Museum of Art. And I got to go. And they had a wonderful exhibit that was very meaningful to me. But it's not Art Deco. But I just want you to know there is a National Women's Museum of Art. You might not know that. Okay, here we are, Art Deco Trust Napier. Bauhaus Tel Aviv, as I showed you, Joe Levine lives there. They have a house, they go back and forth, him and his wife. And he is now, took over Jack Johnson, he's now the chairman of the MDPL. And Tel Aviv has a big walking tour. They call it the white walking tour. There's a white section, all the buildings are white. Brussels Art Deco. And the 18th World Congress will be in 2027. Of course, they're planning because it's got to plan 4 years in advance. Will be in Chicago. So, anybody wants to attend that, it's coming. So, again, well, here I am with Joe Lowndy. Now, Kathleen Murphy-Skolnick, I don't know if you've been to our lecture series, but she has given many tours. She has flown in from Chicago, flown in from, sometimes she goes to Cuba and flies in from Cuba. Last year she did, and has given us many tours, lectures. So good friends, Joe Lowndy, I met him in Cuba, and I think I met Kathleen in Cuba as well. Detroit, Durban, Toulouse, Historic Shanghai. I wanted to go, but I'm gluten-free. I could never eat Chinese food. Art Deco Brazil in Rio. Now then, they're known for the Jesus Christ. And Miami. Here I am with Barbara Capitman's son at the World Congress. He's writing a book. It's been years. I hope he finishes soon. Andrew Capitman is Barbara Capitman's son. He flew in. So there's other things to see in Miami, of course, and mid-century modern now is very endangered. So we have, it's called MIMO. They either call it Miami modern or mid-century modern. I see there's a new show on Hulu starring Nathan Lane. They said it's the Gay Golden Girls. It's going to be called mid-century modern. That's the new thing now. That's all we're going to hear about. Morris Lapidus designed the Fontainebleau Hotel. And that was shunned in its time. We brought many tours there. So January 24th, 1999, I went to a modernism lecture. Morris Lapidus was speaking. I couldn't find the piece of paper, so they gave me this piece of paper. And these are my notes. It was my birthday. And I went up and got his signature at the end. So I made copies and hand them out oftentimes on bus trips. But I prize this piece of paper. Okay, Paris Art Deco Society, which I went to Paris and met with Pascal. This building is the immigration building. It's now a museum. And the night I went was the big opening of like an outdoor market at the museum. And but if you go to Paris, you could also see Art Nouveau. We don't have Art Nouveau in America. They didn't build a lot of things that still survive. Mostly, Czechoslovakia and Paris and Brussels. But this is the famous department store in Paris. So we know it's not Art Deco because there's no straight lines, right?
Is that Lafayette?
And there's Pascal, who's running the Paris exhibit on his little bicycle. We met him at the coffee. And so when I met with him when I spoke in France, and I spoke at the Art Deco Palais Consulaire. This is the Chamber of Commerce, the Art Deco building, Chamber of Commerce. Perpignan has big Art Deco conferences. They don't pay their dues. They're not members of ICADS. It doesn't mean that there aren't fabulous Art Deco things all over the world. Here I am with my friend Linda Fleetwood. We went to Perpignan and Paris and Barcelona, which is known for Art Nouveau. Phoenix Art Deco Society, Sacramento, Tehran, everywhere, right? Okay, this was where we went for Buenos Aires. This was the pre-Congress, and this says R.I.P., rest in peace. This is Francisco Salamone. Now we call this Art Deco, but I've seen this called brutalism also, because it's this heavy, massive concrete. But it was done in the Art Deco style, so you could have brutalism and Art Deco at the same time. And this is still, I have beautiful pictures of Buenos Aires, just lovely. And Montreal, and that looks just like this, right? The one we just saw. Casablanca, it's a new organization that just joined. And we have what's called Friends of Art Deco. They're not really Art Deco societies, but they're friends of ICADS. So apparently we have Houston and Art Deco Dublin. So a dear friend of mine, Tony Fusco, just died. He was president of Art Deco Society of Boston. We went there for a National Trust conference. So they're not members of ICADS. He died. I announced it just a few weeks ago. But on my trip to Boston, I wanted to show you some beautiful things. In New Orleans, there's Art Deco. It's endangered. It's going to be demolished.
Oh, wow.
Look at the beautiful vitrolite, the 1, 2, 3s, the triangles. Look at this ornate. And it's the laundry center. It's a very famous building, and I hope it's still standing. I haven't followed up on this. But there's Art Deco all over the world, whether they're a member of Art Deco societies in the International Coalition or not. Here I am in Tulsa. Rex Ball has passed away. So as presidents pass on, of course they're not a member of the Art Deco societies anymore. And Robert McGregor has passed on from New
We're gonna
Zealand.
pass on.
Here we are in Cuba. And the logo was one of the guards there. So this, let's get back to Palm Beach County. We lost this building. They said it wasn't even Art Deco, right? Of course it is. We see the glass block, we see the eyebrows, we see the relief saying what it was. It was a tuberculosis hospital, but everyone didn't want a tuberculosis hospital because of AIDS. Oh, we gotta tear it down, gotta tear it down. You know what's there now? Wawa and Aldi. I was there during the construction, the demolition. I would go every day. You couldn't keep me away. And there were 2 Art Deco layers. And they were so nice they gave them to me. So we have Art Deco artifacts. And I went, and there wasn't a crumb. So demolition is forever. We have to preserve our history. We have to look forward to the future. We're going to the World Congress.